Hey, thanks for another chance to encourage you. I'd love to encourage you today to hunger and thirst for righteousness. Jesus said in Matthew 5, verse 6, that those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, or some translations say justice. I'll talk about what those mean in just a second. But those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, those who hunger and thirst for justice will be satisfied. Now, I don't know if you've ever been really, really hungry or really, really thirsty. Thank God I've never been in a situation where I was literally on death's door, that I was literally starving to death or literally dehydrated to the point of death. But I've felt that way many times, and you probably have too. And in those moments when we are really hungry, when we are really thirsty, nothing else satisfies. We only need that drink, or we only need that food. Whatever it is that we might be satisfied by otherwise, or really enjoy otherwise, that's not enough in those moments. And that's what Jesus is talking about here. He's saying that the people who hunger and thirst for there to be righteousness and justice in the world, they will be satisfied. And what he's talking about is the concept of what God thinks is right, what God thinks is good. What God thinks is holy and right and good and healthy and equal and fair, going by God's definitions. It's a lot like what Dr. Martin Luther King said, where he said that he dreamed that someday people would only be judged by the quality of their character, not the color of their skin. That's a big part of this, was that God sees the world where we are rewarded for our choices that we make. We are rewarded for the character that we develop over time as we submit to Him daily, as we reach out to others daily. But that's the idea, is in God's world, righteousness and justice are where we define those words. We define what's right and wrong, morally or otherwise, what's just and unjust, morally or otherwise, legally or otherwise. We define that primarily by what He says is right or wrong. And when we do that, and when we hunger and thirst for that, when nothing else is going to satisfy, we'll be filled. And here's my really practical challenge to you. There's always going to be some things that are very far out of your control and out of my control. Always come back and pray and think and try and figure out how you can act. Listen to the people around you. Listen to voices that maybe you haven't listened to yet, but try and get some new ideas, whatever it takes. But try and find the stuff that you do have control over. What are some things that you personally can do? Start there. Do that. Be so starving for righteousness and justice that you're willing to sacrifice something in your daily routine, your daily life, your pocketbook, whatever it takes, to actually do something that you know will make a difference. Don't settle. If you're really hungry and thirst for righteousness, don't settle for demanding other people to do that. If God calls you to do that in some context, that's between you and Him. But don't settle for just that. Be part of the solution. Do something that you can control. And here's a promise straight from Jesus. Those who hunger and thirst for righteousness will be satisfied. God bless you.